Justin Bieber was born in 1994 in Ontario, Canada. His childhood was far from easy. His parents were very young and they divorced shortly after Justin was born. Justin began living with his mother in government-subsidized social housing. His mother had to work multiple jobs simultaneously to support the family and care for her son. They also received government assistance due to their financial situation. And the family was not well off. However, life had given Justin something incredibly important, a natural gift for music. Since his mother couldn't afford to send him to music school, Justin had to teach himself almost everything. By the age of just 2, he had already learned to play the drums. He later taught himself guitar, piano, and trumpet, and along the way he began singing as well. In 2007, when Justin was 12, his mother started uploading videos of him covering popular songs to YouTube, recorded at home or at local talent competitions in Ontario, Canada. These videos were never intended as a planned career move. They were simply a humble way of sharing music with friends and family. Yet Justin Bieber's natural talent and charismatic presence quickly caught the attention of far wider audiences, including professionals in the music industry. Talent manager Scooter Braun stumbled upon Justin's videos online and was so impressed that he convinced Justin's mother to bring him to Atlanta. There, Braun introduced Bieber to the renowned artist Usher. Usher immediately recognized that Justin wasn't just talented, he had a magnetic star quality capable of captivating the masses. But Usher wasn't the only one to notice. Another industry giant of the era, Justin Timberlake, had also set his sights on the young talent. A fierce signing battle erupted between the two pop stars. Usher prevailed, and Bieber signed a professional contract with Island Records at just 13 years old. Justin Bieber was officially on his way to becoming the world's most famous young musician. In 2009, his debut single "One Time" and his album "My World" exploded onto the music scene as a debut artist. He became the first to have 7 different songs simultaneously chart on the Billboard Hot 100. His 2010 hit, baby, transformed him into a global pop star. The song was viewed billions of times on YouTube and was certified 12x platinum in the United States during those years. The Justin Bieber phenomenon swept the entire world. Fans called themselves Beliebers. Concerts were marked by young fans fainting from excitement and events being canceled due to overcrowding. Justin even gave a private performance for then-President Barack Obama and the First Lady at the White House by the time he was just 16. Justin Bieber had achieved a level of fame that many artists spend their entire careers chasing without ever reaching. From the outside, everything appeared to be an extraordinary success. But on the other side of that coin lay a profound tragedy. The music industry did not see Justin as a human being, only as an enormously profitable product. Every detail, from his haircut to his wardrobe, every sentence he uttered and every gesture he made, was carefully crafted to appeal to his young fan base. His work schedule was utterly inhumane. Endless rehearsals, flights, concerts, and a young person who never had time to rest. In 2010 alone, Justin performed 80 concerts, not counting the continuous radio appearances, television shows, and promotional events. This young person, practically still a child, did not have a single minute to call his own, while the industry exploited him to the bone. Another force harbored unprecedented hatred toward Justin. For millions, he had become the symbol of undeserved success. His rise through YouTube videos seemed suspiciously easy to many. Crowds labeled him a lucky kid who became famous simply for being attractive. His high voice and baby-faced appearance became targets for every form of mockery and aggression. An entire community despised this child, portraying him as the embodiment of everything wrong with popular culture. This cyberbullying and harassment of Bieber evolved into a global movement. He was under attack from all sides, vile comments in internet forums, relentless humiliation on television and in film. People didn't just criticize his music, they attacked his personality directly. Even grown celebrities, some considerably older, found it perfectly acceptable to openly mock and harass someone under 18. In that era, bullying a young person to this extreme had become socially normalized. In popular culture, this cruelty reached staggering levels. In his appearances in the TV show CSI and the film Zoolander 2, his characters were killed off. He was slaughtered by a monster in South Park and brutally beaten in Family Guy. Comedian Andy Samberg even made a film called Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping, largely built around mocking him. Bieber hatred went so far that any internet game emerged where players could torture and kill a character resembling him. This hatred soon crossed from the digital world into real-life threats. A man hired 2 contract killers to murder Justin Bieber. Police confirmed the suspects had a concrete plan and had previously committed 2 serious crimes. Justin was genuinely their next target. By 2013, the situation had become unbearable. A photo circulating online showed him holding a controlled substance. The world was but introduced to a very different Justin. For fans accustomed to his wholesome image, it was a shock. Those who had always hated him felt vindicated. Justin had chosen a dangerous path to escape reality and cope with the overwhelming stress in his own mind. It was the only way to silence the relentless anxiety and feel nothing for a while, according to Justin. Those around him were terrified of what might happen to him given the pressure he was under. His substance use gradually became part of his professional life. He showed up to live broadcasts and events under the influence, and audiences watched him behave strangely, moving sluggishly, becoming unnecessarily aggressive. Barely aware of where he was, Justin was losing control entirely, and his behavior infuriated the world and his own fans. First, a video of his disgraceful conduct at a nightclub made tabloid headlines. Then came the neighbor scandal. Justin had thrown eggs at a neighbor's house and was later forced to pay Bawan in damages. One of the strangest incidents occurred during a trip to China, where security guards carried him on their shoulders along the Great Wall. These events only reinforced the narrative that the artist had lost control and become indifferent to those around him. His relationship with the paparazzi had also reached a breaking point. Well, one day, a photographer deliberately began insulting him, and the provocation worked. Justin lost control and confronted the journalist, giving the entire world a front row seat to the psychological damage he had suffered. This on-camera altercation was only the beginning. Soon, Justin began to disregard laws entirely, as though he had lost all sense of limits. In a now infamous Miami incident, he was caught street racing a yellow Lamborghini in the middle of the night. Tests revealed he was also driving under the influence. The mugshot of him smiling strangely made headlines around the world. At the time, everyone assumed he was simply spoiled by money and fame. In reality, his mind was no longer capable of bearing the weight of that much pressure. Harrowing studied on child celebrities found that a child's brain lacks the biological capacity to withstand such intense pressure. Child psychologist Dr. Roxwell stated that this level of stress can literally rewire the neural pathways in a developing brain. Consider this, we are talking about a genuine superstar at a time when Justin was the most Googled person on earth and his every move was scrutinized by millions. Think back to when you were 13 or 15. Of every action you took were followed and judged by the entire world. You would likely have faced serious problems too. Justin Bieber made many mistakes and behaved disrespectfully toward people, that is undeniable. But looking more deeply, his aggression wasn't merely the tantrum of a spoiled star. His self-destructive behavior and desire to flee reality were side effects of the dark underbelly of this industry. While the world laughed at him, he was in truth a young person, trying to survive in a world dominated by opportunistic adults who knew no limits. At the 2012 Music Awards, when Justin was announced as the winner in the pop rock album category, 40-year-old Jenny McCarthy grabbed the young singer by the neck, pulled him toward her, kissed him, and touched his buttocks. Justin's discomfort was visible in every aspect of his body language. McCarthy later attempted to laugh it off in an interview, but that did nothing to diminish the inappropriateness of what occurred, if anything. It made it more disturbing. Despite what many would classify as harassment, she spoke about it as though it were charming and funny. A similar incident occurred with 28-year-old Katy Perry, who touched Justin's buttocks while he approached her simply for a hug. The media framed these inappropriate behaviors toward a young star as lighthearted tabloid fodder, concealing what was really happening behind closed doors. On the talk, 41-year-old Leah Remini tried to grab Justin's face with her hands. He had to say no 5 times before she stopped. Remini then compounded the situation by asking deeply inappropriate questions in front of the studio audience of young fans. But perhaps the most bizarre behavior of all occurred on the Ellen DeGeneres show. The 56-year-old host showed the entire audience a paparazzi photograph of Justin in an intimate, private moment and kept the image on screen for nearly the entire interview, even sharing an edited version with her own shocked face superimposed on it. The adults around Justin in the industry regularly intruded on his private life in this manner. On the Mojo in the Morning radio show, for instance, host Shannon Murphy began asking Justin, who was 16 at the time, deeply personal and inappropriate sexual questions. As seen in the clip, Justin was visibly and clearly uncomfortable. These were not questions anyone should ask a person of that age. It wasn't only women. Men, too, exhibited strange behavior toward young Bieber. Ella Reed, the producer who signed him to his first major deal, once said this kid was so beautiful, he had a beauty like a woman. Men are rarely that beautiful. James Corden, during an interview, pressed himself close to Justin and placed his hand on his back. Justin's discomfort was plainly visible, yet Corden did not stop. This had crossed into outright disrespect, and still Corden couldn't keep his hands to himself. Justin tried to brush it off as a joke, but Corden pushed further still. All of this happened in front of cameras. What happened when the cameras were off is terrifying to even contemplate. Without family or close friends present, Justin was left alone with the most powerful figures in the industry. One of those figures was Diddy. In 2009, at just 15 years old, Justin was introduced to Diddy through his manager and mentor, Usher. Diddy was a full 24 years older than Justin. Despite this enormous age gap, the two began spending a great deal of time together almost immediately. They even recorded a video together, discussing a wild party they would be attending that night. Given Diddy's well-known reputation for parties that go far beyond conventional norms, all of this was deeply alarming. What business did a young teenager have at those parties? In 2011, while appearing on Jimmy Kimmel Live, Justin inadvertently let slip that Diddy had bought him a Lamborghini and had even promised to buy him a house. Diddy immediately intervened on air, silencing Justin and sharply reminding him not to discuss what they did together in public. It appears these strange secrets, these things he was forbidden to speak about, weighed heavily on Justin for a long time. His fans began to theorize if he couldn't tell the truth in interviews and on programs. Perhaps he had hidden those truths inside his songs. When Justin Bieber's music video for Yummy was released, it initially appeared to be nothing more than a colorful, unconventional piece of work. But in light of the serious allegations now surrounding Diddy, the video has been thrust back into the center of debate. Looking at the clip more closely, a group of children play instruments with fearful expressions, entertaining an elite, predominantly older crowd. White-clad dancers emerge from the beneath the tables, potentially a reference to Diddy's famous white parties, events at which all guests dress entirely in white. The appetizing cherry sandwich at the start of the video decays into something disturbing by the end, a visual that many analyze as representing the loss of innocence Justin experienced upon entering this industry as a child. In the final scene, Justin sits alone and exhausted at a massive table with a photo of his childhood self placed directly in front of him, widely interpreted as one of the most explicit visual signals of the emotional devastation the artist endured. Justin himself admitted that during the filming of this music video, he felt deeply depressed, was constantly anxious, and even cried. After so much scandal and pain, Justin appeared to have found a path toward lasting change. He decided to step away from the chaos and build the quiet, stable life he had perhaps always dreamed of. He married Haley and recently welcomed a child. From the outside, it looked like the perfect movie ending. The great star had finally found the peace he sought in a new marriage and fatherhood. But look a little deeper, and you'll notice that this happy ending isn't quite as happy as it seems. Justin is still in a vulnerable place. He is doing everything he can to heal. But the trauma is accumulated by someone who grew up surrounded by millions of cameras, waves of hate, relentless bullying, and the dark intentions of the industry's most powerful figures are not the kind that simply vanish. He still occasionally displays aggressive behavior, and it is crucial to read that correctly. His sudden outbursts toward the paparazzi are not the whims of a spoiled star. They are the natural responses of a person who has spent his entire life feeling under threat. In saying this, he is actually making a deeply valid point, because for so long in this industry, he was seen not as a human being, but as a profit-generating product. In the past, there was almost no one around him who truly protected him. He was surrounded by people who existed solely to exploit him. The adults around him watched him crumble day by day and continued to exploit him to the very last moment, then left him completely alone to face the consequences of the trauma they had helped create. In the end, Justin Bieber's meteoric rise to fame appeared from the outside to be the realization of the greatest dream any young person could have: the frenzied love of millions of fans. enormous wealth and global superstardom, but Justin's life was, in truth, far from a dream. And perhaps what he needs most today is not a new album or worldwide attention, but simply a little peace. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video. Take very good care of yourselves.